Welcome back, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you had a wonderful day. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hopefully, you guys caught yesterday's video where we updated some destinations on the downside. And we're just going to hop right into it today. Not a whole lot to talk about today, as it was kind of uneventful, but very, very strong for the buy side. And as always, we're going to be breaking down our 30-minute time frame on the ES futures contract. We'll look at the 30-minute time frame, and then we're going to look at the daily and the weekly time frames, just real brief. So we're going to try to keep this short, sweet, and simple. So today we opened up taking back most of the single prints, not all of them. We still hold two sets of single prints, but we opened up below a few. So if I pull up my ES destinations, and if you watched my video yesterday, you know where these destinations were, you know what we marked. And we opened up right around the middle distribution. So yesterday we talked about how there were 4 distributions from Friday, and we marked all of them. This being the lower distribution, single print, middle distribution, one of the upper distributions, and then finally the last upper distribution being in range from Friday. And then obviously we had a price probe. So once we opened up below all of these single prints and below the price probe, pretty much they all got taken back. Now let's bring it back to a clean look here. Okay, so because I just want to mark a few things. So we opened up within this distribution. So I'm going to mark it right. And the overnight low was right around that area. Today was one of those rare days where we got both the overnight low and the overnight high. And if I were to pull up a full-time session real quick, just so you guys can see what that looked like. Oh, that is ugly. I need to learn hotkeys on this thing. I've been using this for 4 years and still don't know hotkeys. Anyway, so today was one of those rare occasions where we took out the overnight low right here, right? 4408.50 was the overnight low. That just happened to be right above where that set of single prints start at 4406.25, okay? And it was within that distribution, all right? What I have highlighted here is a distribution, okay? So in that range, we found buyers there. It rotated up in the overnight session. And then we had a high in the overnight session right around 4432.75. Guess what? We got that. And then we got the maintenance session high, which was right around 35.50. And then we got the previous day's high or Friday's high. So it was one of those weird occasions where we had a, we took out the overnight low, but we held within one of these distributions. We didn't take back the rest of these single prints, right? So that was a positive for the buyers. And then we did eventually end up getting the overnight high. Now, after we got the overnight high and the previous day's high, we really didn't do much with it. I mean, we kind of just chopped back and forth between basically chopped in the upper distribution. And I'll show you guys that here in just a second. Let me adjust this. So we just basically chopped around in the upper distribution from Friday. I'm going to mark that upper distribution right here. That is the upper distribution. Okay. What I just marked. So this whole range right here. That I just marked is the upper distribution. Now, one thing to note is how we held up here. Okay. So I don't know whether this was a bunch of sellers stepping into the market right here because we do have a gap above us, or if this market was just, accumulating more buyers to the upside. Overall today, buy side was strong. We did do a lot of chopping in that upper distribution, trying to find acceptance both above the price probe from that day. So if I pull up the destinations here, you can see that price probe was at 28.50. We chopped around back and forth through that, held the upper end or battled the upper end or the lower end of the upper distribution right there at 4426.50, and then dipped our toe a few times back into one of those distributions, the middle distribution from Friday as well. So remember how I said if you wanted to be a buyer in this market, you definitely wanted to hold anywhere above a previous distribution and continue to grind up higher and then work your way into that gap. And that's what we did today. Now I did well today. I only took one trade. Didn't take many trades. I took one trade. It was a bit of a tedious trade because I was buying on the pullback here. Now let me get rid of some of this these markings here, as they're not as relevant anymore. Now the reason why I was getting into some positions, excuse my stutter, was because on pullbacks, right, I felt comfortable getting long. All right, especially after we, popped up the way we did early in the day. We couldn't get the initial balance low. We got the overnight low, but couldn't get much further into the set of single prints below. So I was confident that buyers were very strong, especially after we went trend early on. Okay, we went trend, held it for a little while, and then slowly drifted into it and kind of filled in where single prints were. So we created a set of single prints early on, and that just happened to be where this middle distribution was, right? So we created a set of single prints. We took some back just to create another set right in the same range, and then buyers kind of stepped back in to that same range. So I was basically buying against today's single prints and then against that middle distribution. Now my out was a little bit lower. It was around 1850. Okay, if we got below 1850, I was not looking to buy anymore. You can see here, this was a Apex account. This was the trade that got me to past one of these accounts again. So I've passed and I've lost them, passed and I've lost them. This one we passed once more. But you can see here I bought 33.50, 29, and 26. So basically on the way down, I was buying. I did start really early up here because we were holding another set. I was expecting us to kind of maybe, with the way we were moving early on, to push up and fill that gap. Just didn't work out. So I kind of held on to it a little bit too long. There was an opportunity to take it off for about 2 points. I just didn't take the profit then. I definitely should have, but I am happy that I held through, accumulated a few more. I was definitely comfortable, a little worried, but I was comfortable with how things were working for the buyers. We did end up raising point of control up here, so that was a positive thing. Value began to lift, so I was like, okay, maybe we'll at least go and test the high of day and rotate up higher. Maybe I can get out around that 43 or 44, 33.50 level again. And as we did, came up, took it off, and pocketed $500 on the day. And 588, can't go wrong with that. That pushed me over the edge to pass that account. So basically, all we go out with today is today's low, today's high, and afternoon pullback low at 22.25, and then we have a 9Y point of control right here at 26.75. All right, you can basically treat today as an inside day, as we only took out the previous day's high by 3 points. But we did get into that gap again. We're slowly eating away at that gap. Now, I'll show you something interesting on the daily, and I pointed it out in the Discord room with Paul. It's how many times we've attempted to get into this gap and have failed to fill it completely. So we'll mark today's high at 36.75. We'll mark the 9Y point of control right here at 26.75. We'll mark this 9Y point of control. Now this will be a upside destination since we closed below it, and I'll explain a little bit more of that here in just a second. Let's go ahead and label that. Boom. Okay. And then we have our afternoon pullback low. Let's mark it way down here at 22.25. Afternoon pullback low. Oh, whoa, what just happened? I hit the escape button. Sorry about my clumsiness. Tend to be clumsy. But that was also kind of the trade idea, was to catch the afternoon pullback low. Now, I didn't know how much it was going to pull back, and clearly I could have bought at better prices on the downside. But, I'm happy with what I did today. Happy how I traded and handled that trade. There's our afternoon pullback low, 44.22.25. Then we have today's low of day at 07.25. 07.25. I don't know why I keep typing. Okay. So buyers want to open up above basically 44.22.25. Afternoon pullback low. Rotate up to 26.75. And then obviously if they get above 26.75, they should get the day's high at 36.75 and then work their way more into the gap at 44.46 where the gap fills. And then above that, there is a freaking vacuum to the upside of 44.64.50, which might be a bit of a tough one to get to, which was a price pro back from 9/20. All right, so the 20th of September, where we had that large trend day down. I mean, very large trend day. The higher day of that day was at 45.14.50. So we have a lot to work towards to get back, basically take that entire day back. So if we get above 44.46, your next destination isn't until 20 points higher, basically. And that is quite the grind. Now, today's range was fairly small, and it would take a lot more volume to get above and push through that area. So if buyers can't get above today's high, look to rotate down to 26.75. If you can't hold 22.25, there is nothing below until 44.07, where the day's low is at, and then 44.06.25. And then you have where the single prints fill at 43.99, and then 43.97.50 is the next set, fill at 43.93. All right. The daily is one time framing up. We'll look at that real quick. Daily is one time framing up, continues to one time frame up until we take out a previous day's low. Okay. So if tomorrow we miraculously take out today's low, which was at 44.07.25, we take out today's low, we'll put ourselves back into an initial 3-day balance. But until then, we are one time framing up, working and eating away at this gap on the upside. Now, one thing I wanted to point out was right here. After that gap, right, we pushed up into it a few times when it was first initially formed. It was originally formed right there at 1850. We got into it a few times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. We've attempted to push up near or into that gap and failed. Last time we failed miserably, rejected really hard, and came down. Didn't quite get into these gaps down here. Then now we have a very strong trend to the upside, and so far we are having a very difficult time getting into this gap, which, you know, then started at 23.25, and we've been slowly eating away at it. But I mean, volume has been very dry, not very high on this grind up. Just, you know, it's short-term traders in this market at the moment. Not very many big boys or long-term buyers really stepping in here. So we're slowly getting into this. So be careful longing into this gap fill at 43.50 on the daily, or 44.46, however you want to look at it. Because of the rollover, it is different numbers. But if you get into the gap and you're longing, just be careful, okay? That's all I have to say about that. Daily continues to one time frame up until you take out a daily low. Let's go ahead and look at the weekly. Just want to show you guys the weekly. The weekly continues to one time frame up, right? We started one time framing up last week. We took out last week's high only by a few points, but we do continue to one time frame up. Now, I do want to reiterate how important getting back into this balance on the weekly is. Okay, we had a previous weekly balance low right here at 44.23.25. That was also our previous weekly balance high. So from several weeks ago as a balance low, and then from just a few weeks ago as our balance high. I cannot stress how important it is to find acceptance above 44.25, essentially. If we can get a hold above 44.25, you can slowly start to grind your way back up and get to that weekly high of 45.14.50, which also happens to be that large trend day, high of day back from the 20th of September, right? That was also that higher day from that large trend day down right here, right? So if we can get above that, we'll take out that higher day, take out that other weekly high, and we'll be sitting pretty on the buy side. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all had a wonderful day. We'll catch you guys in the next one. stops. See ya. Also, Paul Asmar, CamelbackTrading.org. He's doing a special if you guys want to join a room with professional traders, educational move. Go check out CamelbackTrading.org. He is running a special $225 for the year on that. So go check him out. See ya.